2018 is the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. And for many of us, it really is something that you read about in a history book. And we know that it's important, but it's important to think of how it has affected so many of our lives.
Into the 60s, as I was going through college, we had, of course, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the assassination of Malcolm X, and then the real event that triggered the Fair Housing Act of 1968 was the assassination of Martin Luther King.
This afternoon, as we gather here in this historic room in the White House, I think we can all take some heart that democracy's work is being done.
Despite our background, despite our ethnicity, it allowed individuals to have a home as that foundation for building intergenerational expansion of opportunity. In fact, right now, we may be heading back in the wrong direction.
And last night, people asking for peace in Los Angeles, protesters joining hands, making a statement as the country mourns the loss of those lives in Louisiana.
What we know for certain is that a 30-year-old Iranian man plus an elderly couple from Iran were detained earlier.
Immigration agents arrested 188 people suspected of being in this country illegally.
People thought, with the election of President Obama, like, racism is over in this country. No, it's very much alive. It exists.
Discrimination today may not be as visible as it was 50 years ago, but that doesn't mean our fight is over. There's still so much that we need to do as a group, as a community. I come from the lending background, and Asian Americans typically have less credit because we don't value debt as a culture, as a society.
They have great jobs, they've been here for 5 years, but because of their credit history, they're not able to get financing as someone that's been here for 10 years.
The mortgage products were very limited, such that there's no other way to do it except go to, smaller banks that ask for higher interest rates. That
means the underwriting guidelines would have to be different. It would have to fit our unique situation.
There's definitely housing discrimination out there still today. Yes, it's been 50 years, but you know what? I think we can do a lot greater things in the next 50 years.
After 50 years, the fair housing is not just for certain races, it's for everybody.
So the passage of the Fair Housing Act represents us really overcoming discrimination in the past. And we've seen a lot of progress, we've come a long way, and recognize that discrimination out there still exists. But we don't want to dwell on that. We want to look to the future. We want to see our organization take advantage of all the possibilities out there and to grow the homeownership base for Asian Americans.
By sharing our stories and providing a testimony, others, lawmakers, community leaders, ARIA leaders, even down to the general membership would understand what it takes to move our community forward.
I do not exaggerate when I say that the proudest moments of my presidency have been times such as this, when I have signed into law the promises of a century. It proclaims that fair housing for all human beings who live in this country is now a part of the American way of life.
This year we celebrate and commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act, a reminder and the legal embodiment of the right for Americans to live where they want to and to choose home ownership as part of their journey to financial security. ARIA and its members are at the forefront today of making this 50-year-old legislation real for people who chooses to make this great country their home today. There is nothing more powerful for generational wealth building and civic connection than home ownership. That's why we continue to believe in the Fair Housing Act and its promise of sustainable home ownership and fair housing for all. Let's remember the past and recommit to working together to build a better future through home ownership for all communities and all corners of this great land of ours.